What's up, rockers all across the world? I had to make sure I got my Texas hat on for some Texas heat because I've had him on a few times. You know I love him. You know I love his original project and the project he's working on with his brothers. That's Thomas Alvarez of UABB and Cold Casket. What is
And
Gucci,
you
my
get that.
man?
Give me my flowers. I love it. I love it. What's up, bro? Thank you, dog. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me on, bro. It's always a pleasure.
It always is, man. We've like even from like fuck, it was so long ago because it was like what 2019 when you guys had
Yeah.
down Throwdown, Caskin and everybody,
hmm
dude. And it was a fucking hot Texas July there.
Yeah. You were like, you were freaking out. I remember.
It was
You're
like
like, it's too
fucking
damn hot
French,
out here.
dude.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
And that was with me with a tank top on, dude.
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
How you been, man? How's the family? How's everything going?
Good, man. Good. I can't complain, brother. I just working hard and trying to trying to be great. You know what I'm saying? Trying to.
Oh, I know, man. How's life in San Antonio? How's things kicking out in the Texas side of the world? Is it hot there
It's
yet? Is
good.
the heat wave
It was
kicking in?
actually it was actually cold today. It was pretty cold today. It's supposed to be colder again. I got down to like 45 or something like that. And then but the other day it was like 95 degrees. So it's it's very weird bipolar weather obviously, but yeah, we got a little
85 is
cold
like the
front coming
85
in.
for California for you guys, right?
Yeah, there you go.
That's the
Straight
normal
up.
weather temp.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
95 is chill.
well, dude, firstly, like huge congrats with all the new, like the first three or four festival dates you guys announced with the UABB. You know, you got the Warp Tour, the three Warp Tour dates, and Rockfest
Yeah,
out in
yeah.
Wisconsin. That's some fun shit, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Last time we played it was great. So we had to do run it back. I'm talking about Rockfest. I think we played it like a year or two ago. On yeah, Seven Dust had played on our stage and stuff, and I fucking love Seven Dust, bro. So I was just fucking freaking out. And there's like their trailer was right next to ours, so like all day I was just posted up on our trailer, like fucking trying to see the boys. You know what I'm saying? but uh, but yeah. I had a blast, and they treated us well, so we want to come back. And then as far as like the Warp Tour stuff, I mean, uh, being a 14-year-old kid starting this musical journey and then doing this, and to say that now, like, oh cool, I could my band is playing and stuff on like on multiple ones, you know what I mean? Like sadly it's not a whole tour anymore, but I'll take what I could get for sure.
Yeah, I mean, all right, it's pros and cons. It's great that Warped Tour came back, right? And it's creating that festival,
hmm
huge festival dynamic. Everyone can get hyped up. You see the list, new bands you want to
hmm
check out, old bands that you love. But it's not the same touring cycle like it used to be, and it's guess it's fun to ask you. UABB has been a part of it. That was a long time ago
hmm
before you hopped on and started playing
yeah
with your brothers.
yeah
But
hmm
do you think there needs to be another touring circuit? Because we were talking on the offline, there's no like real summer festival circuit here
yeah
compared to Europe, you know. Do you think something needs to
yeah
up to fill that void?
I think so, man. I think it only helps, you know what I mean? The more the market is spread out throughout the year, gives more availability for the people that, can't afford to go to, Ohio for Sonic Temple, or Florida for Rockville, or anywhere else, Aftershock or something like that. Um and so yeah, to have something that's going to come like in your vicinity would be great. And I know a fuck ton of bands would want to hop on to something like that for sure. um, it's just, logistics, and there's a reason why they don't do things like that anymore. And I'm not smart enough to know why right as of right now, as far as the logistics thing. But yeah, shit, they need a band. Let us know.
Yeah, because it's like besides like the fan aspect of it, right? Of people lining up and you're like checking out,
Mhm.
finding out the day of what the set times are, who's playing at where at, and meeting people and finding new bands and stuff, and then meeting them afterwards, going to their merch thing. But on the band side of things, that was a whole different culture as well. Like if you're doing the
Yeah.
Warp Tour run, you're making buddies with, say Black Dahlia Murder, right? You bet like they're
No,
both
yeah, for
doing every
sure.
night, like that camaraderie that you get
Yeah.
from the bands, right? And you
Yeah, it's a melting pot. You're rubbing elbows with so many different people any day, for, however long it was, 30 something days or 30 something shows or whatever. But yeah, dude, like, yeah, on the camaraderie side, because for Mayhem, whenever Upon was playing Mayhem, I heard stories about it, obviously, because I wasn't in the band, but they're, I think for the first time they played it there, Upon was on the smaller stage and they had to physically build that stage every day. So them and whoever was playing on it, I think it was like Betraying the Martyrs, I the Breather, um, Sumerian bands, you know what I mean? I forgot who else was on it. There's another band on it, and then Upon, they had to build that stage every single day. So I can imagine the camaraderie that came out with that. You know what I mean? You go in the morning, everybody's fucking tired as fuck, drunk from the next day, from the last day earlier, have to build a fucking stage and then rip on it, and then and then fucking take it down. You know what I mean? And then go party after or whatever. It's just seems like a crazy crazy dynamic, you know what I mean? So uh but it seems fun too, if you got your head on straight and you don't act a fool and shit.
Yeah, and also like that's what created like, hey, you guys want to go on the road like next year? Like,
Hmm.
fuck yeah, let's do it. And then that's how you
Yeah.
created new tours, right? And new runs and stuff. I'm like, oh hey, I know so and so who can be an opener for us, and we put a whole crazy
Yeah, I'm more than sure thousands of tours were made because the bands were playing Warped Tour together and they just became friends. And that's how it works. Like, we can bug our agent and be like, we want to tour with this band, we want to tour with this band, and then if they bug their agent, we want to tour with this band, you know what I mean? It's sooner or later it's going to happen. Or if you're established enough to put your foot down and be like, no, we are touring with this band, let's make something around it, then that's always good too. That's usually how it happens. Or you know what I mean? Like, um, I mean, agents will send, offers, back
back
and
and
forth
forth.
to stuff and everything. And that's one way of getting shows and tours and stuff. But if you know the guys and stuff, and hope sometimes it works out.
Well, now kind of like it's a good way to go into it with UABB being completely independent now and not
Mhm.
having, a record company to be a middleman in between stuff and deal with this kind of booking process and, what's the payout going to be, what's going to be the logistics. How is this new age of being fully independent and booking festivals, booking tours? How has that been for you guys?
Well, luckily we have a amazing booking agent, Daniel. And so he gets us a lot of cool, really cool offers, and always tries to keep us busy, and knows what we like and don't like, and he'll give us stuff that coincides with that. And so really it's all of his connections and stuff like that. You get yourself a good booking agent, and you can get on those festivals, and those, you just got to have somebody with some pull, you know what I mean? And managers can sometimes do it too, but then again, that's all about like who they know and stuff like that. A booking agent just gets right to the source, and if they know those promoters that do those festivals or those bigger shows, then they could probably shoot them an email or whatever. And then if your band's talented enough and has got the riz, as the kids say, um you know you could do it and be booked on those shows. I know bands that are unsigned that get on these festival shows. Yeah, they're on like the smaller stages, but they're still there. You know what I mean? And so, um, don't don't necessarily think that just because you're independent, that's so out of reach and that's like impossible. Because really, nothing is impossible, bro. It takes meeting somebody one time and then liking your band or whatever the case is, and that's all it takes, bro. Really.
Well, now more than ever, it's like kind of like what you talk about. Like it's nothing is impossible anymore, especially in this age
Hmm.
of, we have the most tools at our disposal for everything, especially for an independent band. And
Yeah.
has that been, I guess, in your guys' technically upswing since being independent? Upon has been on the upswing, and you guys have always been on top of your game, whether it be content, self-promotion, handling everything. How has that been huge for
Yeah.
you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's good because you don't got another, another hand in your pocket. You know what I mean? So that's good too. We reap all the benefits of our work. You know what I mean? And so it's just I guess I could just sum it down to it's very rewarding. And um, if you take that, if you like, luckily we were in a position to where we had a name, and then people knew who we were, and then we went independent and stuff like that. Obviously, if we were starting out just as a normal new band, that might have been a little harder to come by. But I feel like it's just a numbers thing, man. You do these things like these rappers do, and they'll like release songs every month or something like that. Like, go ahead and do that and see if that works for you. And you never know what's gonna catch. Like I said offline, man, we could talk all day about how music is promoted. You know what I mean? In this day and age. Um, so and it's kind of, I don't really like it just because of how in your face it's almost like begging to listen to the music rather than like, you know when you used to go to a record shop and flip through the stuff and, oh, this is a cool album cover, you know what I mean? Let me jam it, and so yeah, man, I'm getting all these text messages from these fucking fools. I'm sorry. Hold on, give me a second.
Hey, where's my money at,
um
homie?
I know from the group chat and shit. No, but going back to what I was saying, yeah, like it almost feels like you're begging for it rather than people coming across organically because they like it. You know what I mean? It's like if it's
Yeah.
not, yeah, I like the marketing that's not exactly shoved in your face. It kind of makes you feel like you stumbled upon it. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's kind of my take on, without getting too like on my soapbox about shit, like because like I said, I could talk all day,
Yeah.
like and bro, like, if you're one of those bands that promotes that way, where like, every you have one chorus and 50 videos on you go to their reels and it's their 50 videos of the same chorus and you're just swiping through, it almost turns me off a little bit. Like, if you do that, then that's perfectly fine, man. It's just not for me. And but I know a whole bunch of people that aren't of my generation that they like that shit. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I can't. If it works, it works. What am I gonna do? Just be the fucking old guy being like, oh, that shit's fucking whack. Like, bro, if it works, it works, and they're doing it. It's just not something that I feel is genuine to the way I like to express my art.
And then it also still comes back to, in the sense, like, if everyone's doing it, then how will you be different?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the oversaturation and stuff comes up. I mean, brother, like you see it on it comes in waves, you know what I mean? The metal in like the 2010s to like, or like metalcore in like 2010s to like 2015s kind of sounded the same with like the overproduced like Joey Sturgis style, like
Yeah.
type of crapcore type stuff. It's the same thing. It's just different. It's same shit, different toilet. You know what I'm saying? It's we're just taking this subject and moving it over to this subject, and but it's the same thing. Whatever works is gonna work, bro. And so there, if you want to hop on a trend and do it, then that's fine too. But I'm more of trying to, see what other people are doing and figure out where I sit in that, in that realm.
And but what's been great, no matter what, either with UABB being back with like Sumerian or Seeking Strike,
Hmm.
um, they've always been consistent with their look, sound, image, and just what they want the band to be, right? What they want to
Yeah,
promote,
yeah.
their merchandise, their singles, like it's always been what the band wants to produce.
Yeah, and I'll never, if your band's on a label, I'm not gonna sit here and be, oh, you're fucking stupid. Like, dude,
No,
that's great. Like labels will help a smaller band get to where they need to be and stuff like that. And yeah, you're gonna have hands in your pocket, but sometimes that's the price you got to pay if you're not willing to blow up on like another way or something like that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Completely independent. That this independent road might be a little bit longer than this road. You know what I mean? As far as like getting to the level of success you feel is worth it. But um, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that.
No, but you're right, dude. It's like and it gets regurgitated a lot through Reels, TikTok, and I think Danny's the only one with the band member who has a TikTok, right? That kind of does stuff and posts stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he does
yeah.
it because
I
he
don't.
wants to
I
do
don't
it
really do
for,
it.
yeah, but he's the only one
Yeah,
doing it to follow a trend. He'll just post
yeah.
phony golf things or something like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's something that's cool. And you need every member. You figure out when, especially when you're independent, you could figure out, okay, who's good at what, and then okay, you do this and you do that, and start delegating some shit.
Yeah.
And then it just so happens that he wants to be, the social media guy on TikTok, and we'll handle all the other, like, all the other all the other avenues of socials and stuff. But like, he believes that this angle might be it, and he enjoys doing it, so let him do it, you know what I mean?
It's only
and
going to
and
feed your guys' numbers at the end since he enjoys doing it.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Like I said, like, um you're not, and nobody's forcing us to do that either. Like, maybe if you have a label, you might be pressured to do those kinds of videos because you got to get the numbers up and do that. But with us, we don't really necessarily need to. We can if we want. We have before, and it did okay. But I think we're we're on this other mindset about, like, what works for us, and we're figuring it out, and our content game has been slowly getting better and better, and but it's a never ending cycle, because once you're on something, something else is popping off, and then it is what it is, man. It's just, you can't really keep up. It's like the hamster wheel. But I think what you can do is just release good consistent music, and cater to the fans that you have, and then make strategies to grab fans that you don't have, and then that's kind of where you work
Yeah.
from, you know what I mean? how do
Yeah.
how do we how do we cater to everybody that we have and loves us already, and wants to see us do the exact same thing we've been doing for 20 years? And then, but then also, how do we shift and make these people feel included too, and make them want to come to our shows and stuff? So that's the big teeter, and so, um just coming up with strategies and figuring that out has been a long journey, but it's not impossible. Yeah, you could do it and still stay true to who you think you should be.
And now, before we talk about, like, you talk about music and actually talking about the new album that you guys just dropped back in December, the one thing I would always say Upon has always been fucking prime for is merchandise. Merchandise design,
Yeah.
putting it out there, shipping, the creation. I still love. I get compliments. I wear it once in a while. I got to keep it clean because I do not keep
Hell
white
yeah.
clean at all. Hank Hill, Upon a Burning Body, freaking shirt that came out a while ago. And
Yeah, dude, those were some hot sellers, man. We had to reprint those a couple times for sure.
but
It
it's
was
like that.
wild.
Do you think that is a crucial, if you're going to be independent now, if there's any advice you would
Oh,
give, do you need to be creative with your merch now?
I think you need to be creative in all avenues, and try to, but especially on merch, because you can have such a fast turnaround, and you don't necessarily, with all the resources available, you don't have to really put up a lot of money to be able to get pre-orders started. Uh, for anybody listening, here's a fucking simple strategy for you. You have a band and you have $0. Go ahead and sign your band up for a print on demand service, and select your garment, and maybe, scrounge up each one of your members. You got 5 members, $5. Okay, that's $25. Try to get somebody on Fiverr to design y'all like some kind of art, or even fucking AI it, if you don't mind that kind of shit. Go for it. But I think you should just get somebody to do it. So go ahead and do it. Get the artwork. So you spend $25 on the artwork, and then just put that on the print on demand site, and just start promoting those as either pre-orders, or just, hey, they're available now, go ahead and print it. You don't deal with any of the shipping, you don't deal with any of the creation of making them, physically making them. You don't have to handle inventory at all. It's just a simple way to get your merch out there, and you're just making, yeah, they take a little bit off the top because they're making the shirt and printing it out and housing it and all that stuff. But the money, you don't, all you did was pay $25 to put it up, and then, you're making money now. And so even if it's just a block letter, something as simple as this, you know what I mean? You could easily sell it online and then make a little viral little thing or something funny or get somebody with the good hook or something and have the link to the shirt and promote the fuck out of the shirt and boom, there you go. You got free fucking revenue from this. Well, it's not free because you paid a little bit of money to do it.
Yeah.
But what I fucking sound like fucking Gary V or something. This is fucking crazy. But just but just but just which is a road I do not want to go down. But yeah, fucking I think I think you get that strategy going. You know, it's not impossible, is what I'm saying. You can make things work with like little to no budget. Like I started when I was 14, doing local band shit, and it was hard. We didn't have no fucking money at all, but we grinded enough to you know play every show that we played. We saved up that money and we played fucking 4 times in a month, and oh, we have enough to buy our first batch of shirts. Back then it was print on demand sites weren't necessarily a thing, so we did have to buy like 25 shirts or something like that and then sell them at our next show and stuff. So it's just hustle, bro. Like I don't know, any ways you can make money, whether it's merch, do a Patreon, where you're doing your vocal, whatever you do, whether you're a vocalist or a guitar player, you like to shred, hey, let's break down the songs, do whatever, or create content that people might want to pay for, like $1, $2 a month. You get 100 people subscribe to your Patreon. That's $100 a month that you're just gifted. You know what I mean? And so um, there's ways of making money. Yeah, selling stuff at your shows. Fucking uh, um, I don't know, if you have gear and equipment that people always want to borrow and use, fucking rent it out. And you know what I mean? And obviously make sure that they're not going to break your shit or whatever. But yeah, rent it out. Oh, you guys need a backline for today? Like, give me like fucking $10 or whatever. You use it for the fucking set. Like you get enough people doing that. I don't know. That's just my mindset on like how I would make money if I was, in a band that just started independent and just trying to grind. That's where I would start, is merch game, because it's easy. And especially if you can design shit, then you're already ahead of the game, bro. And because you already know what you like and you could design stuff and pop it up and do all that shit. Simple block letter stuff like this isn't necessarily hard to make if you have a good like font or whatever
You can make
and
that on
stuff,
your
or to
phone. There's
design.
apps with freaking font generators
Yeah,
you can make
exactly.
and just
Exactly.
export it so that you can
Exactly.
use it. Like we're in the best age to be an independent band.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's all I got to say is just, in not just merch, but in all ways, think of stuff that could could generate income for the band. But like I said, it just depends on how far you're willing to go. Like don't do it to the point where you're where you're not being genuine to yourself and you're like taking money from people or
Yeah.
scamming or doing all that shit. Like obviously this isn't just about getting all this money. This is about funding what you're trying to do and what you believe in. So to come at it with that mindset, not just like, I know probably somebody might take this and be like, oh, he just wants you to make money, but that's not what I'm saying. I want you to make money to be able to fund all this cool shit that you're gonna be able to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
While being in a band and shit. So, um, yeah, that's really my take on that for sure.
No, but it really is. It's as creative you want to be. You're gonna you're for being an independent, you're gonna all the work's gonna show how much you want to put in, right? And be as creative
Yeah,
as you
yeah,
want to monetize everything. And that's what I've even when I've worked with bands or tour managing and I'm like, hey, monetize the fuck out of everything you have. Like, but we don't want to
yeah,
like, well, if you want to have a Polaroid camera, so you get like, hey, $5 to take a selfie with us and give them a Polaroid, something different besides like a selfie, right? Sure, you can do a selfie.
yeah, man.
Otherwise, give them Polaroid so they can hold it forever, not just something digital.
No,
And
yeah.
monetize every little thing you do, not just
Hmm.
because you're trying to like get money out of it, but like one, you want to give them a better experience and a memory of you with them.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like, or start doing, at the merch table, do if you're a band that can do this, like meet and greet after our set, obviously you don't want to do like a meet and greet in the middle of other people playing because it's kind
Yeah.
of fucking
Oh,
weird. But like if you can do an outside trailer hangout, you know what I mean, or whatever, you get a few of those people going, or met like I'm bringing up the Patreon because you can have people that are like on like your highest tier. Let's say they pay like $10 or something a month. Well, when I'm in your city, you come hang out, and because you've been a subscriber for however many long, you know what I mean? And you
yeah.
come out, hang, and just, chit chat for like 30, 45 minutes, and then I got to go do my thing. But um, just little shit like that, people subscribe for way less, you know what I mean? And like uh, you could just talk about anything. You could have a podcast that is only on Patreon, and it's just the most low budget thing, but you're just talking about whatever you want, like tour stories, or if you have something interesting that people want, you know, they're gonna end up going to wherever it is to find it, and so um, there's a whole bunch of avenues, man. There's a whole bunch of fucking avenues.
We can go on forever about fucking spitting
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
ideas. Um,
yeah, for sure.
and people are going to start taking our ideas too. Like, oh shit, I can get
I
with
know, right? This motherfucker.
it. But dude, kind of like bringing it back what I was saying before. Now, congrats on this latest album back in December, dude. So,
Thank you, brother. Thank you,
Blood of
man.
the Bull, bro. Another fucking banger from the band, and actually a little bit more backing vocals for you on there as well, dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had to put my foot a little bit more in it this time. But it was cool. It came naturally, bro.
Oh
It
yeah,
wasn't like a thing where
as
I
a
was like, oh, I
frontman
need to
of
force that in here.
of Cold Casket. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's been you already naturally have it.
Yeah, like whenever we were writing, we spent a month writing, and on Canyon Lake, there's a little lake like maybe an hour and a half away from where we are. And Ruben used to live out there, and their family still owns like that house out there. So we would we would we went over there for a whole month. We rented out the spot, and we're just on the lake. And it actually started snowing during that time, which was pretty wild for us. So we got like snowed in to the point where like we couldn't really go anywhere, and we were like getting like cabin fever a little bit, and freaking had to like walk. We walked to the lake like a couple times, came back, and stuff like that, and like take little breaks and stuff. But that was a that was an interesting experience because, you know, I'm so used to being able to go home or something and like wind down, not really think about the my job, you know what I mean? And but whenever you're in a house where you're just like just completely like you would walk in the front door and it'd be like the kitchen, and then our the living room was attached, and it was just like all drum stuff, like our MIDI kit, and then we had our control like shit like up on the side and everything, and you'd walk in and it just wires and all this. It looked like a fucking madhouse, you know what I mean? And you know, there was two rooms, and all the guys would stay in the rooms and stuff at night. But for the common area, it was only that, like, that space where we would do most of the writing in. And I think that kind of created like a thing where it wasn't necessarily always the best environment at that particular time, because like, you could just be like, oh, write this badass song right now, and you're just like, damn, bro, I haven't even had breakfast yet, you know what I mean? I guess we'll try to jam, and we'll try to jam for 2 or 3 hours, and sometimes stuff wouldn't happen and stuff. But that's all trial and error, and we started getting in the groove about week 2. We were there, we started actually writing like good shit that we were like, okay, badass, like this is cool, this is good. And not to say that it was a bad experience, it was great. I just think now the way we work now, um and we ended up writing some like two more songs that are going to be on like the deluxe. We have like this deluxe album thing that's going to happen, um in the near future and stuff. And so we have two songs on there that are gonna nobody's ever heard before, and we wrote them after we came back from, you know, that little outing. So we did it for a month, and then we we stayed maybe like 2 weeks, like just by ourselves, like at our own accord, like do whatever you want for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then me and Ruben came back and started writing again. And that I feel like was the move where like I go over to his house, we write, and then we give that song to Danny and he does his thing on it, and then that's that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's the song. Because then it started when we were over there, it started to get like too many cooks in the kitchen, and not everybody's ideas were necessary. We weren't fighting or anything, or butting heads or whatever. It's just when you have four people in the room trying to write something digitally and stuff like that, like using a DAW, not we're not all jamming at the same time, type stuff, which we could have done, but I don't know why we didn't do that now in the first place. Now that I thought about it, oh, actually, they did jam like a couple times, like where Ruben and Tito would just fucking get behind the kid and just rip, for like an hour, and we would record the whole hour and pick out sections that ultimately would become a song or something. You know what I mean? So that's what we would do for like the first couple hours of the day, is just jam, and then weed out all the bullshit, figure out the two or three fucking riffs that were good in there, and then try to make a song compiled with all that. Um, and then like I said, we went to Ruben's after that and kind of wrote. I would just go over there and we would write the song, send it to Danny, and it just became a lot smoother. And so now we're like, okay, I think that's the process that we need. Is like, me and Ruben will go in and fucking riff out like, four songs, and then send them to Danny, and he can pick and choose which ones he wants, and then write lyrics to all of them or write vocals to all of them, and then we'll pick the best ones out of that. And like everybody's good about, if your idea wasn't like chosen or whatever, not to get like fucking butthurt or anything. This is everybody just wants the best for the song, and I feel like we have a good understanding about that. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. We'll use we'll use this the inside joke is like we say that everything's stock, like it sounds stock, like because we heard Lars say it. I think it was like on the Some Kind of Monster DVD or whatever. He's like, man, that riff just sounds so stock, like it just sounds stock to me. It's like, so whenever we don't like something, we call it stock and shit. So it was pretty funny.
Stock
Like,
riff
don't get
plugin.
me wrong, yeah, yeah, like so don't get me wrong, like I had a great time recording, and we did everything ourselves. Like me and Ruben were engineering everything. So we engineered all the whole album, and then we sent it over to Chris Mora to get mixed. So that's Chris's mix, but we did all the engineering, like all the production. Uh, we made some cool fucking synths and like all this production noise and stuff, and that was really the fun part. You know, uh,
And you guys did
getting
this in the
to
last album previous too, right? For Fury,
I
right?
think no, Fury was recorded like half we recorded it, half at Mora's. And so that one was a little bit of a weird like jumble and stuff. But um yeah, this time we recorded everything by ourselves, and I was pretty stoked when Chris Moore gave us the thumbs up and was like, yeah, everything looks good. It's like, as if I would have recorded it or whatever. Like
Yeah.
there's no technical problems with the audio aspect of it, which is cool because like I've been doing engineering stuff for like, I don't know, I want to say going on 10 years now, and so just to finally be able to like record and produce my own band and have it, I've always gotten recorded whenever it came to like final product stuff, but this time I recorded everything, and it was fun. It was definitely fun. It was a challenge sometimes, but uh I would do it again. I love that. Sure, if another band wants me to track their shit or produce or whatever, I'm always down for like
Hey,
writing
that
or
could be
something like
another
that.
another Patreon tier right there. Have a band
Right? Yeah.
submit your freaking run.
Yeah.
Let's go over. We
Yeah.
can help you mix it and whatever the hell. Um,
Yeah, that'd be cool. Or like just give you pointers, really. Like
yeah.
that's what I would like to do. Because
But do you
sometimes that's all it takes.
is that now like what you said, you partially did it and you've always been doing it for the last 10 years. Is that now an important factor for, again, going back to this independent thing, but like for every kind of artist and band to kind of roughly know how to do that stuff, to save you time when you want to get that stuff mastered.
Yeah, like I always, I kind of use the analogy like if you were a race car driver, I would want to know how my car works. You know what I'm saying? And so I think, or anything like that. If you're a construction worker, I want to know how my tool, my machine works, just so that way, if something goes wrong, I know how to fix it. Or when somebody's showing me something that's like, oh, this is a better tool, or it's a better car, you're like, yeah, you're full of shit. No, it's not, because I know this and that, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, I just, like I said, I'm just glad that my audio and engineering ability and their trust kind of started balancing out, and it's like, yeah, man, let's we could do this. Our confidence was high enough to where like we could just fucking do it ourselves, and cut yeah, it cuts the cost by fuck, like pretty much half, because engineering is 80% of the stuff, and then the mix is where you just put the polishing stuff on it. But if you can't polish a turd, you know what I mean? So it has to be good. You have to have a good starting point, and so that's where I was just making sure. And if you could do that, you cut the cost and you just get it mixed and mastered. Yeah, that's another way to save money and make money too. If you want to do that, like um, trying I did the whole like trying to do the engineering thing as like a full-time thing, and I feel like in order I respect the game a little too much, 'cause similar with fighting, I think I've told you this before, like with fighting and stuff too. It's like audio and fighting to me is like, I respect the game so much that I know what it takes to be fucking really good, and I don't know if the I know I have the capability to, but I don't know if I have the bandwidth, as far as like I need to be present in a lot of different things. I need to be good at a lot of different things in this point in my career. You know what I mean? And so if I do something that's like, if I told you right now that I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, my music ability, my writing music ability will probably suffer, because I'm so ingrained on trying to do this fucking stand-up comedy shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like if I were to go into fighting or something like that, something that I love to do, but I know what it takes to be great at that. And so I know when I'm on tour, this motherfucker's in the gym training to beat my ass, and so I don't, that scares me, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's like
Yeah.
I want to be able, if I'm gonna do one or the other, I want to give it my
Attention.
full shit, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, as far as like on a professional level. But I'm at the point where I could do that now and kind of dip my toe in different avenues, because I'm kind of locked in this fucking industry that I'm in. You know what I mean? I've been doing it for so long. It's kind of all I know, really. So I don't think I'm ever gonna leave. Like, if it's not being on stage playing music, because I know my body's gonna give up. We all our fucking, we can't do this forever. So if it's not that, then it's something behind the scenes. So whether it be music, like production or something like that, behind the scenes stuff will probably be my avenue out, I think, and once my body decides to fall apart.
Hey, next Rick Rubin of Texas, bro.
Yeah, there you go. I try to, bro. Try to. I can't grow no fucking beard, bro. I need to.
Well, now knowing like this whole album essentially was born kind of from Cabin Fever, right? For
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
you guys are all on
yeah.
top of each other, not fucking make it work. But
No, yeah.
from this like controlled chaos, the best way to put it, a snowed in controlled chaos, what are you proud of on this album, like tracks wise?
I am proud of, you know, I like, whenever we write new songs, I like to see how they do live and stuff like that. And granted, we haven't played all the songs off Blood of the Bull live, like through its entirety or anything yet. But the songs that we have played, to have them have the same reaction or pop that older songs have, or like more nostalgic stuff, or like Kill Shot or something like that, like um that is the most rewarding for me at least. You know what I mean? Like I always I and or that's the most rewarding for me, and so I always drift towards those songs. So like Daywalker and stuff, playing that live, the crowd response has been so cool, and like finally getting people singing, finally seeing people singing back the lyrics, you know, of my parts or something like that. It is fucking that's awesome. That's probably that, and like, you know, I know Another Ghost has been out for a while before the album came out, but um that song too is like one of those ones where like, oh shit, these people are singing it now, and it just makes you feel good, man. Like but I guess out of the new album I would say like Daywalker, as far as like full song, but then Sangre, the first song off the album, where it's like the acoustic stuff and the nylon stuff. When we play that live, we get a good pop off of it too, because like, you know, uh, it's a change of scenery. You're seeing a metal band, and then you see these two fools walk up with fucking nylon guitars. You know what I mean? And then in the middle of the song, we switch out into our actual get, you know, and they hit a fucking breakdown and stuff. So that one is like is really fun to play live and stuff, just because it's something way different. I've never made anything like that for a pawn. You know what I mean? Obviously, they've had their Latin roots and stuff like
Yeah, because I
all
was gonna say
throughout their
that's
album
for
cycle.
even for newer fans, that's always been if there's one like besides awesome call outs from Danny, great breakdowns of Rich Rubin, it's the nylon kind of Latin American heritage
Yeah.
intros or having it mid song
Hmm.
into it and it ties into everything. So that's another
Yeah.
staple that's been part of Upon.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, for people that don't know either, I mean, I don't think anybody knows this, but the only ones that would know this would be me and Ruben. But um, Sangre was actually the last song that we wrote. So it was on the second cycle of the writing when we were at Ruben's, and we were gonna do an interlude at first, and we were like, man, we need a nylon guitar. And we were looking up on Guitar Center because we didn't really have one at the time. And we're like, do we go to a pawn shop or do we get whatever? We're trying to figure out all this shit. And so we're like, you know what, dude, let's just let's just go to Guitar Center and see what they got, you know. And we have homies that work there, so they would hook us up and stuff. But um yeah, we end up finding this nylon, and then through, you know, from going over there and then picking out one and stuff, we were like, bro, let's just get two, and whatever we write, let's write an interlude, but let's also write, you know, we didn't have an intro yet, and so we were like, let's also write an intro with these fucking nylons. And then I was like, it'd be so sick to just play it live with the nylons. We'll have it on the stands or whatever and just fucking rip. And because we've always wanted to play mariachi live, um, and we finally did it because we have these nylons now. So we come out and we play fucking sangre, and then in the middle of the set we'll come out and we'll play mariachi. And so it's a cool like dynamic change and shit like that. You know what I mean? It makes the set breathe a little bit more, and then brings back that Latin heritage. I get to fucking yell at the crowd, and like, you know, it gives us a little bit of time to shine as like, you know, the other members of the band and shit, like, because it's just me and Ruben up there. And yeah, at first it was very nerve wracking because I'm not like I could play guitar, but you know, nylon flamenco fucking guitar is like a whole other skill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
It's like
so
when you fuck up
learning
on
that,
acoustic, everyone knows.
oh yeah. And there was a few times, bruh, there was a few times where the first couple shows where we did it on our Christmas run. That was just like whenever we released Blood of the Bull, that Christmas run in December. We played it, and dude, the first couple shows, something was wrong with our in-ears where we didn't check it, the levels as everything was going on and shit. And so my click was just non-existent. So like I was off time the whole time. It was horrible for whoever was at that show, those two shows, those first two shows. I am so sorry. But after that, we were fucking locked in, baby.
It's
We
kind of
made
like
it a
that
point.
video of
We made
who
that shit
was
a
it?
point.
I forgot who it was, but he had the TM holding the click down for him on the back. It
Yeah,
went
straight up,
out.
straight up. I needed somebody fucking patting me on the leg or something, because so visibly pissed and was just like, "What the fuck is going on? I can't hear nothing. All I can hear is myself. I can't hear Ruben and all that stuff." And it was a wild time. And we almost took it out the set, but then we are like, "Nah, fuck it. We're real fucking rockers. We're gonna fucking do it. We're not gonna take this shit out the set." Uh, yeah. And so we fucking pulled up our britches and fucking got it got it popping. And those last shows that we ended up finishing off with were pretty much perfect after that. So yeah, it was fun. But all that came about because of random, hey, let's go get a nylon guitar and just record an interlude. And then, as we were going over there, we're like, that it would be sick if we just both walk out pitch black and both walk out with just the fucking nylons and the fucking Day of the Dead mask and shit and fucking go rip it. And it ended up working out. So it was really cool. It's a little tidbit. The first song of the album is actually the last song that we wrote.
The last one to be great. That's
For
how,
sure.
like, dude, some of these
Yeah.
greatest albums, some of the best songs have been like the last like minute fucking thing they came up with.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit,
I
now
heard I think it's Chevelle. Chevelle wrote no wait, who sings Singing Red Sing Red, Sing Red
yeah, that's Chevelle.
again.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Chevelle, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so he was like that. I wrote that song out of spite because the record label called me and said there's not a
Yeah, I
number
remember
one
that
hit
email.
on
I
this
remember,
record.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's not a number one hit on this record. He's like, all right, well, you want a number one hit, motherfucker? Here it is. And he just fucking ripped that one out. I was like, dude, and that's their biggest song. Like, that's crazy. Even going back to another fucking tidbit, I'm sorry to go on a tangent, but going on another tidbit, like, All Pride, No Pain was technically the first song I ever wrote with Upon back whenever we wrote it for Southern Hostility. And to have that be still one of our top fucking songs, outperforming a lot of shit. I think Killshot just passed it, but for a while, ever since I was in the band, it was been that song. And so, but it was the first song I ever kind of dipped my toe in for them. And so I don't know, man, it was cool. I'm not saying that I'm the fucking answer. I'm just saying it feels good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not saying, but I'm
that's
not
all I'm
saying.
saying. No, I'm not. I'm not saying it all. I'm not saying it all. But yeah, dude. So yeah, that's it was a fun writing experience. It was cool. I wouldn't change anything, the timeline on how everything happened, because we probably wouldn't have the record that we have right now. It wasn't even going to be called Blood of the Bull. It was to be called something completely different. And we wrestled for the longest time. Didn't even have the name of the album until like, I don't know, fucking the artwork was getting done like a month before it was supposed to come out. So like it was kind of an ongoing joke, like, so what the fuck is this name of the album, bro? and so and then it ended up working out once we wrote that nylon thing. And like, yeah, let's just fucking call it Blood of the Bulldog. That was already like a working title that we had as we were coming up with the other ones. But yeah, one of them was gonna be we were just gonna call it Seven because it's our seventh studio album. And then we saw another band do it and we were like, fuck no, we're not gonna do that. and so
Oh, you're not gonna call it stock, bro? The album stock, bro.
mm-mm. That was fucking stock ass name. Ruben can preach. He fucking hated that name. He was like, I don't fucking like it. Me and the guys were like, it's good. Seven is cool. If you caught one of my picks uh over the last year that has like a little barbed wire, there's a seven on the back because I thought the
That
album was gonna
album's
be
gonna be
called
called
Seven. Yeah. And so
that.
there's a Roman numeral seven with like barbed wire around it. And I was like, oh cool. They caught me on the seventh album cycle and stuff. I always like to do little custom picks. If you have any of my fucking if you have like multiple of my picks, I would like to fucking see that if you anybody fucking watching this. That would
I
be
think
cool.
I have one from what the for which tour it was. It was a while ago. I have one of yours. I have
Does it
it.
have a little emoji on it with the big
Yeah,
old ass?
yeah,
Yeah. There's a little emoji looking back at it with the
yeah.
fucking wagon in the back, dog. It's funny.
Well, I know you can't talk about too much of the future dates for Upon,
Mhm,
right? Especially with
mhm.
the festivals already been announced and whatnot. We know, obviously, when festivals are announced, you guys are going to have some stuff supporting for that, and that's going to be
Yes,
chiefly
sir.
classified when it's going to be released.
Yeah.
You got stuff going on with life cycles with some of your homies from Cold Casket, dude. What is going on with
Yeah. Yeah. So as you know, Life Cycles is killing it right now. They're they're about to release an album on the 27th of March. So you're gonna be seeing this after it's out. So go fucking stream that shit right now. But yeah, they're doing a US tour with Bleed From Within, Silosis, and Great American Ghost. And one of the vocalists, Lou from Cold Casket, plays guitar and stuff. He does vocals for Life Cycles now. He can't get into Canada for some, or we don't know if he's gonna be able to get into Canada for some reason. So I'm just flying in as like an insurance thing. He's like, hey, if I get in, then you just cop the free ride to Canada. If
it?
not, then fucking you're gonna have to do the vocals. And I was like, all right, bet. So I learned like 7 songs. I'm just ready to rip, bro. Those dudes are fucking sick. I love the old school thrash vibe and shit like that. They're just super heavy and just fucking headbangers after headbangers. So I'm stoked for that. Yeah, going to Canada for about 2 days and ripping some gigs. Hopefully, I mean, I guess not. Hopefully, ultimately, the best case scenario would be he
Yeah,
gets in and I just chill. Yeah,
yeah.
but I told
Hopefully he
him I
can
was like,
get in and you're just got a free show
yeah,
there
yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot. Maybe you
I
can
was
come in
like,
and do some guest vocals. You guys go off and
that's
shit.
what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I was like, if I go and you do get in, I'm still ripping a song. I don't care. I'm still gonna rip a song. I didn't fucking practice all this time for nothing. I would practice it for like a month straight up. I get super nervous about like guest spot stuff or like I just want to. I don't ever want to make the band look bad. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, even when I was doing like the in this moment shit, I was fucking in my hotel room just fucking drilling the songs, bro, and just it was I was like, I can't fuck this up. I can't fuck this up. But I get all fucking nervous all the time. But that's good. I just wanna perform, you know what I mean? Perform well and have people be like, oh, why the fuck do we bring this guy? You know what I mean?
But it's not like it's a completely new brand. It's it's just
Yeah, those are the homies. I've
yeah.
literally been playing music with them forever. So you know, getting in front of the kid and fucking, doing my thing isn't gonna be bad. Like, or
Just
it's not gonna be
don't
like
mix up the
foreign to me.
lyrics and sing,
I know.
OD, dude.
I know. Gotta sing OD or something for sure. I know. But yeah, dude, fucking they're smashing it right now. As far as Cold Casket, man, there is a big possibility that we might, once everybody's free from all their tour stuff and all the tour season and stuff, when we both have time, um, it's pretty much a done deal that we're gonna try to do another EP or something and kind of just put that out as like a hey, sorry we've been gone for so long, but here's something. And I don't think we're gonna, since both bands are so busy, I don't think we're gonna be able to and we would need to like, develop more hype and stuff. And that's something as far as like grinding and stuff. It's something that I don't really necessarily want to do right now in this point in my career. I kind of want to you know, I have a lot of other stuff that I would like to put like my whole ass foot in and stuff. Not to say that Cold Casket doesn't deserve it. They definitely deserve it and stuff. Like I'll what you get from that EP is gonna be all of me for sure. Like I'm not gonna hold anything back. But as far as like going on tour with them or like grinding and like playing a whole bunch of local shows or something like that, if the demand's there, then sure. But if we drop this and nobody gives a fuck, then I'm not gonna be sad about it. You know what I mean?
This is your guys' is like it's just we talked a little bit on the offline, but it's like everyone's doing their own things. You guys are all grown as professional musicians
yeah,
in other avenues, which is amazing.
yeah.
Now it's still your guys' baby, and you just want to come back,
Hmm.
release music, you release music. If you want to do a pop-up show and keep it in Texas, you're gonna do that, because you still love
Yeah,
the
yeah.
band.
Yeah, not necessarily have any like obligations to do anything or whatever
Yeah.
is really what I'm looking for. And then I I told myself, um I just turned 30 and stuff. So I told myself, as a promise to myself, we could if we could not tour in any situation that is worse than what you are currently touring in right now. So like, like with I'm pretty comfortable with the pond, brother. Like I got my own little bunk. I got, the sprinter's nice. I get buyouts every day. Like I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? I'm fucking chilling. They treat me well. And so uh but I've also I've done the sleeping in Walmart parking lots. I've done the fucking not knowing where your food's gonna come from. I've done the not getting paid for shows. I've done all of that, and that's something at this point in my life that I'm just I paid my dues, man. I don't want to do that no more. And so I'm not gonna tour unless I'm in a better situation than,
Yeah, yeah,
upon or something, which is why I did that in this moment thing or something, because those motherfuckers are on a bus. And so I was like, whatever, man, I'll do it. I'm gonna be way more comfortable. You know what I mean? And so um I just care about I care about, the quality of my experiences now rather than like, because so I could truly say that I could not do something because I don't want to do it rather than like I have to do all this
dude.
stuff. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
And so it feels good to be able to say no and be in like a decent spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
But
created a
but yeah.
standard for yourself, and now you want to keep raising the standard.
Yeah, exactly. And once a pond moves into a bus, then yeah, you probably won't catch me, in a fucking van and trailer grinding and fucking with 17 dudes in there. You know what I mean? Like, nah, that's just not gonna happen. So
No more
I
dude wipes.
I try to no more, brother. Well, still dude wipes, but my own, and nobody's stealing them and all this shit. Again, nah. But like I said, like I love the Cold Casket guys. I love the Life Cycles dudes, like everything. But as yeah, I definitely want to keep it like an internet band thing. Um, I got another project going on. That's another fucking G14 classified, how you would say it, with me and Ruben. And that's something that's kind of like has taken the place of like, okay, this is what I feel like I've been missing for all the bands that I've been able to write for.
Yeah,
I feel like this is mine. This is ours. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
like
a
it
new
doesn't
creative
sound
outlet.
like any of these other bands. Yeah, it doesn't sound like any of these of like my other previous bands.
Yeah.
So um I'm stoked on that. We got two tracks locked in and trying to develop some releases for that and stuff. So you'll definitely hear it. And then shit, if I come back on here talk more about it once the cat's out of the bag and shit too. I feel like you'd fuck with some of the music and stuff. It's right up your alley for sure.
I've never fucked with that any of your music, bro. Come on now.
Right? Imagine this being the stuff where you're like, I can't do it, bro. It's not.
Like reggaeton blast beats with
Yeah.
chord
Right.
breakdowns.
You don't like dodgeball snares, man? Dodgeball snares. Come on.
Well, this is good to always ask because, like, as we're all growing, like you talk about new music endeavor you're doing with Ruben, you know,
Mhm.
what is some new stuff that you're listening to? Like, are you listening to new artists? Has someone perked your ears? Like, oh shit, what's this sound coming out? And some new music that you've been jamming that it's kind of like sparked your interest?
Yeah, actually, I've always been a fan of like the plot view and shit. Like over
Yeah,
from
Landon,
like
dude.
when that yeah, Landon has always been fucking writing killer shit. Like I've been a
Solo
fan since
stuff is
like
insane.
the
All
mis
everything.
the miscarriage EP or whatever
Yeah,
that they first released. Like I was a fan of all that stuff too, and just to see their progression um is great, or his progression is great, man. And what they're doing now, I love the stuff. And so the plot on you for sure. um who else? I got to give a shout out to the homies in Downswing. They're doing cool shit right now
dude.
too.
I was just been blasting in the last couple weeks, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah, the
hard.
homie I toured with, and he's their guitar player. He um he was filling in on bass for Victims on our one of our headliners, and me and him just fucking hit it off. He's such a cool dude, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm in this other band, Downswing," and they were like on the come up to like right before they popped off. And so I checked them out and was like, "Dude, you guys are fucking sick," and it just stayed consistent. And then now they're doing bigger stuff, and that's cool for them, man. Like more power to them and stuff. And then who else am I jamming? Um, Shit. Who else am I jamming? Really, man? I don't know, dude. I just be working out to like old like Houston rap, like Paul Wall and fucking Slim Thug and shit. Like, really, like I don't know. I like to, or like honestly, like you catch me listening to some fucking Easy Lover by Phil Collins or some fucking some Caribbean Queen by Billy Ocean, baby. What you know about Billy Ocean when you fucking have your fucking PR slamming on your chest, bro? Talking about Caribbean Queen. Come on, dog. That shit'll
That's when
make
the
you push
pre-workout
anything.
kicks in, dude. That's when that creatine gets
Straight up.
that out.
The fucking lock in, bro. But yeah, dude, I just be listening to random shit. Like when I'm working out, sometimes I'll just hit the playlist and just let it go. You know what I mean? Like on whatever whatever is like popular now as far as like metal. But I've always been the kind of person to like not necessarily pay attention to everything that everybody's doing like in my realm. You know what I mean? I kind of pull inspiration from other things like
Yeah.
singer-songwriter stuff or like older stuff or like, I've been jamming a fuck ton of Static X lately for no apparent reason. I just been jamming Static X like, or like shit like that, like edema or like old school stuff like that that you could, use now because these kids don't know what the fuck that was. You know what I mean? And then I mean you see it a lot. A lot of the newer stuff like or like let's say like Kim Dracula, like I could listen to his songs and be like, I know what that
That came
inspiration
from.
is. I know
Yeah.
what that inspiration. I know what that because I'm old enough to do it. But these kids that are, 13, 14 or whatever that are jamming his shit are they don't know about any of that shit unless your parents were doing their due diligence. But I can't count that for everybody, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so
I
it's
know.
like they hear these funky ass bass lines and they're like, oh my God, that's so crazy. It's like that's like Red Hot Chili Peppers shit. You know what I mean? Or like which I'm not joking, bro. That's cool. Like fucking he's taking it's all a melting pot, and to create something new, I feel like you have to do that, you have to pull from different places, not just, yeah, I could write a breakdown with just fucking zeros and have it be like the most fucking brutal thing and have pterodactyl noises and shit like that. But where is that gonna differentiate me, and how genuine do I feel that is to what I'm trying to bring to the table or what I'm trying to put out into the world? It seems like very like weird when I talk about like that because it's like who the fuck am I? Like I don't I but it's just holding yourself to a standard. I feel like is good. You know what I mean? To be able to be like I feel this way and I'm gonna do it this way because this other stuff doesn't necessarily jive with me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and I've always been saying this because I what's been always great as like our friendship has developed through all these years. It's like musically
Hmm.
we're both spread out, and that's kind of how it
Hmm.
should be. And realistically, there's no such thing as creating a genre bending style, right? Everything is just a culmination of everything you grew up listening to, and you want to slightly change it, right?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
makes it
for
sound
sure,
different?
for sure. I mean, yeah, dude, like you you look at the top bands right now and you ask them what their influences are, and then you go back and listen to those
Listen to it.
bands and you see it.
Yeah,
You can see it. It's clear as day. It's just when it's in a new what's in it, what's on with that same paint, but it's on a new canvas type shit. You know what I mean? And so um yeah, I think I gravitate listening more listening to older stuff or random genres of stuff rather than like like yeah, I'll jam like a Wage War song or a Bad Omen song you want like once in a while, but I'm not like looking on constant like what's new and like what's going on, just because I feel like you get consumed in that and then you start writing stuff that sounds like that, and it just gets like a weird cycle that I've been trapped in before. I feel
yeah,
like trying to write stuff that sounds like something else, and instead of what does it sound like to you and how can you change it? You know what I mean? It's you just got to think about it in a different way. Because yeah, I could write a Bad Omens type song right now. You know what I mean? But it's is it going to be truly like coming from me, or is it just going to be like a formulaic thing? You know what I mean? And I'm
yeah,
not saying there's nothing wrong with Bad Omens because that may be what Noah writes. Like he literally writes. That's the way he does it, and
yeah.
and and
How
and
he
that's and
thinks.
that's
Yeah,
what's yeah, that's what's comfortable for him, and that's his outlet, and that's cool. But when people try to replicate that and then use that as a strategy to sell records is where
Yeah.
it gets a little saturated. And when you get in the climate that we're on today where people have to fucking dance because there's 15 fucking
Yeah.
daddy core bands that
We
sound the
have
same, you
10
know?
different poppy female artists coming out, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, congratulations. I mean, I will never talk shit like to, on somebody's success or anything like
Yeah.
that. But Poppy is an interesting one too because I knew of her because of my partner. She used to watch her on on YouTube, and so she knew her from like her YouTube days. Like she made music, but it was more like a YouTube thing.
Yeah, I
And
remember. Yeah.
then she started getting into music, and then I remember like just my partner, showing me stuff and being like, okay, it's not like my cup of tea because it was more like K-poppy
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
stuff or
That's
like
exactly
real
what I remember. When she
bubble
first,
like
yeah.
yeah, like bubble gum like shit. And that's cool, but it's just not my cup of tea. And then she got signed to Sumerian, and then progressively that stuff started to peel away, and I feel like she started to do more of like what she likes, or if it's not what she likes, then it's working for whatever fucking producers they're bringing to the table. It's definitely working. But yeah. And I, it's even Bad Omens and stuff like I'll never jock their success, bro. Like they've carved their own path, and now 20 other bands want to be like them. That's not their fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like look at what happened to Slipknot. I could show you 15 Slipknots right now. You know what I mean? Like so it's the same thing. It's but taking all those parts and putting them together, making it sound new is the goal for sure.
But there's only one cold casket and one upon a burning body.
Yes, sir.
No one's able to replicate that sound. I'll like honestly, like that's the one.
Nobody's willing to suck that much. That's why. Nah, just kidding. No, I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. We try really hard, man. We try really hard to you know, put out the best music that we can possibly do, and always learning. Like I've been doing music since I was 14, and I barely learned like really dived in deep on like music theory, and stumbling on chords isn't like a magic thing. There's a formula to it, and these chords work here and this works there. And so like my mind has been blown as a songwriter over the last year, just because I've never had proper schooling
Yeah.
on anything music. I've taught myself everything. And so like many people, which is, I mean, I feel like it's how it should be. There's no technical right or wrong way to play a guitar, um or any instrument. I could play the piano with my ass, but if I'm playing Beethoven, it's right to me. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, technique and proper things has always kind of turned me off. And then the language of music theory is just a fucking clusterfuck. And so, but once you understand the language and the vocabulary and stuff, like everything else kind of falls into place, with everything that you've learned past, just off of like experience, like learning what scales are, fucking notes and intervals and all this shit, modes. Why does this minor sound sad? Why does this sus chord not sound like anything? It sounds like, because it's in between the minor and the major, and it's like a create, suspense. That's why it's called sus chord. Fucking all this shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, all right, cool. But it makes me a better writer, because now I have that knowledge and I can be like, oh, okay, let me write this, and I could look at the circle of fifths and see all the notes that coincide with that, and be like, all right, cool.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I could use my abilities more strategically, rather than like, oh, I found these chords and they're good. I stumbled on them randomly. Like, it doesn't work like that. But people in Nashville and best songwriters in the world, have some form of theory and stuff like that. Not to say that you have to, but it definitely helps.
And it makes it easier.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Talking music is a learned language, you know what I mean? And so, um to know all that vocabulary is prime for sure.
Well,
It's
dude.
like, what key is this song in? And you're like, well, I'm tuned to drop C, so it's in drop C key. It's like, no, that's not
No, dude.
that's not what that's not what that means, brother.
Uh, well, dude, I'm stoked to hear. all this new freaking music theory you're gonna be applying to, especially with the new project doing with Ruben and everything else.
Right? You're gonna fucking it's gonna be some Beethoven shit coming out, dog. You're gonna symphony orchestral. We're gonna sound like a Monomarth next fucking album. So the orchestral shit. Lorna
Mariachi,
Shore,
Amon
watch out. Upon a Marth, dog.
Amarth. Upon a Beethoven Amarth.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Gotta have him in there. Gotta have the Tove in there, dog.
Well, dude, it was great to catch up. Great to talk new album. Great to talk the fucking new tour.
Likewise, man.
Everything, man.
Oh
So
yeah,
much
dude.
has fucking changed, and fucking I'm
Yeah,
gonna
man.
be on the lookout for that new tour is gonna be announced and catch you guys because you always come through Cali somewhere. So we always gotta catch.
Yeah, sir. We'll be there, brother. We'll see each other. We'll see each other real soon. I'll tell you that. Real
Hint,
soon.
hint, hint, hint.
Yeah, yeah. Real soon.
Well, guys, please always give them a follow, give the band a follow, give Cold Casket a follow. All right, get those numbers a little bit up. Maybe they get them a little enticing to do some more shows. Right.
Yeah, maybe we could buy a fucking Sprinter tour or something. I don't know. Maybe.
Offer $1 million to be playing at your hometown. You never know. That never
Let's go.
hurts. But
Some business
seriously,
mogul.
give them a follow. Listen to UABB's new album. All right, came out in December. Stream it, bump the numbers, play it however you want it. And if you want to go on YouTube, do it. But
Yes, sir.
support heavy metal music. It's alive and well. Remember to put the horns up also with Upon a Burning Body.
Let's go.